You boys,
Yeah,
you boys ready to kick it off?
yeah, I'm ready.
Sure. What are we talking about? I'm excited.
Do you have it on manual exposure, Manny?
Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be Creators Chill, episode number 3. Joining me is going to be DeadwoodJedi, Manibal, Kizzle, and JGigs. We're going to have a fun podcast-style hangout discussion, talking mostly about Raid, but admittedly, we do go off the rails on tangents, kind of joking around and having some fun with some random discussions. So it's going to be more of a podcast, a longer type video, where we just talk about Raid and general topics that are coming up in the flow of the conversation. So yeah, let's get into it. Alrighty, and now joined by the crew here, back again. How are we doing today? What's up, Deadwood?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
You bet. What's up, Manibal?
What up? What up? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me as well.
Kizzle, how you doing over there?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. Doing good, realizing that my green screen's a little small for me right now.
Yeah, it is. I had to cut it off a little bit on the sides. How you doing, Gigsy? What's up?
What's going on, man?
Oh, so I guess let's just let's dive into the hot topic right off the bat here. What do you guys got to say about this fusion? You guys going to be going after it? How do you feel about how it was handled? And we'll just we'll go in the opposite direction this time. I'll start with you, Gigsy.
I'm going for it. I'm going to see if I can't do it on the free-to-play account just because I'm curious if it can be done. And I'm doing it on the main because I got nothing else to do on the main, honestly. That and kind of pay attention to Faction Wars now. So I'm going for it. I think he's interesting enough. Looks good. That's it.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Most people have been saying that he's like garbage or not worth it. So.
Yeah, they say that about every champ that comes out. Like, it's getting old. Just because someone's not in-game meta immediately, it's starting to irk me a little bit.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay. Kizzle, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm gonna go for it, because you kind of have to if you're making content. But does it excite me at all? No. I don't really know what I'm going to do with that champion. Make a video on it. I mean, honestly, I might just make a video with somebody else's account, save a little time. This is where I'm at right now with it. So, I'm not overly impressed. But I mean, I guess I get it. You don't want to make, I guess they're not trying to disrupt the meta too much, but
And Manibal.
Yeah, so I think it was handled poorly as far as how it was released, making all these new champions that you have to get for it, which means that there's so many events that you have to complete, and it just makes it kind of like a spit in our face towards our vault. All those champions that we've been keeping there for so many months that we're trying to empty out. So that's the negative side of it. The positive side is that the fusion is actually really good. And just think to yourself that they're releasing this fusion right before Void Tower. And why does he have this kind of passive that basically makes him immune to provoke? They have provoke bosses inside Faction Wars. So they have 120 floors, hard mode, easy mode. So I'm sure that there's going to be some usage, or else why would they release him and why would they make him really hard to get? It's just a lack of communication between the company to let us know what's so great about him, why we should fuse him. They need to be able to kind of entice us, give us some hints or something, because on paper it doesn't look that good, but the more you look at this champion, the more viable you can see that this champion can be. So yeah, I highly recommend you guys go for this fusion. I'm definitely 100% going for it, and it's always good to have it to have it and not need it than not have it and need it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And you never know when they'll buff, and you know what I mean, or put out content where he's relevant. I think it's always a good idea to scoop him up.
Get the Draco treatment.
Yeah.
I don't even think he needs a buff, to be honest. So
I don't either personally, but
yeah.
Okay, Deadwood.
Great. I have to follow Manibal. Excellent. I mean, I think Manibal's right about a lot of this, right? I think I've always felt like if you have the opportunity to get a legendary champion, I mean, that's the heart of the game, is getting more champions. So if you have the opportunity to get a legendary, which is hard to get, go for it. Do it. I think he is going to be really good. I think that he's going to be very effective in arena. You know, being immune to provoke is pretty strong, and then being able to take that off your team is really strong, and being able to steal buffs off the enemy or like take them off, whatever. Like that's really good. Like that's basically like, you know, it's Madame Saris and the provoke immunity kind of thing.
Okay, I gotta stop you guys here. Madame Saris is way better.
No. Obviously, Madame Saris is better, but the thing is that he has two multiple things, right? One, he can take the provoke off of himself and your allies, as well as stealing buffs off your enemies. So when you're, you know, you don't need both him and Madame Saris for a lot of the content. You're facing a Duchess, you're facing a Sify. He's going to be effective. Now, that said, and I agree with Manibal. I think for the Doom Tower, he's going to be probably really good for certain levels, right? He's going to be one of those champions that you're almost going to need to be able to pass certain levels. But that said, he's not a meta changing champion, I don't think. I think he's a meta like he's going to fix it. He's a meta reaction, you know what I mean? So like there's a lot of provoke champions right now. He's there to counter that. Meta counter champion, that's what I was trying to say. But he's not going to change the meta. Like Tormund changed the meta, Rhodos changed the meta. I don't feel like this champion is. And so like in that sense, I'm not sure that you need to fuse them. I mean, I do strongly think if you can do it, do it. But like, you know, the problem with it is there's so many new champions. It takes so many resources to get. Like I remember doing the Rhodos one, and I was like, it kicked my butt trying to make that one work, because they were all new champions. And so that's a bit of an issue. I think Manibal's also right about like it would be nice to know, is this champion going to be super good for Doom Tower? Is that another reason to get them? Because if it's just an arena thing, then a lot of people won't need to get them because you either have a ton of champions and a strong arena team already. So it's not like you're, you know, vulnerable to provoke, or, you know, your account's nowhere near there. And then you're probably going to get more out of putting your resources into the champions you already have. But, you know, my actual biggest issue, I don't mind bringing out a bunch of new champions. And I don't really mind using them for this. Like, you know, if it's a strong champion, it should be hard to get. I get what they're saying. It sucks. It's hard, but, you know, whatever. It's more things to do. I'm okay with that. My biggest issue is that the epic champions aren't strong enough to really push for that. So, you know, if I'm a low spend player or a free to play player, there should be something for me to shoot for. A really good rare champion or a really good epic champion. In the Rhodos Fusion, we had Sepulchre Sentinel, and I was telling everybody, go for that. If you can't get Rhodos, get Sepulchre Sentinel. She's going to be great. There isn't that champion in this one, and that to me.
I think it was supposed to be Thane. It
was supposed to be Thane, but her base stats are so bad. I don't know how you use her outside of an unkillable team. And if you have an unkillable team, you don't need Thane. You know, so for me, that's my biggest issue. Like I feel like they had a lot of opportunity with that, but they dropped the ball on the lower tier champions, really. And it would be nice if, you know, I don't know. That's kind of my feeling about it.
Cool.
I think I covered it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So here's my issue with him. A lot of stuff is really dependent on things happening. He's a legendary. He's a horribly hard fusion. He should have guaranteed value. There's so many qualifiers here based on buffs on the target or based on them doing something, and he doesn't have cleanse, and you can't really build him with super high resistance because you need accuracy on him. And then in any team that goes first, he basically has no value because everything has qualifiers to place like the decreased defense and stuff. And so like it's really hard to synergize him and get him in a team where he's going to perform well consistently for how hard he is and for the fact that he takes 13 legendary books. So like, yes, I agree. You should always champion chase and try to catch them all. That's why we play the game, and you never know what's going to come out and if they're going to get buffed or not. But in the current state, without knowing anything, I just find it a weird champion design. Unless like you guys said, there's something in the Doom Tower, because I don't see it. He's obviously horrible in the clan boss. He's not going to be a dungeon carry that's going to help a mid-game player progress. And what utility is a mid-game player going to get out of trying to build a team that gets consistent value out of that in the arena. So I guess I kind of disagree. I think I'm a little bit more down on the champion than you guys seem to be. You guys seem to kind of like him more than I do.
I don't like him. Does any other champion have AoE block heals in him?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
let me share
Because
my thought on that.
I could honestly see in Void Tower AoE block heals, like maybe there's like a level in it that's like, 4 or 5 healers. And without AoE block heals, you're just not getting past that like that. Knowing Plarium, that would make sense. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, and what I wanted to basically say is that he synergizes really, really well with Mortu Macabre, because Mortu's A2 blocks buffs, and it doesn't need a resist check. You know what I mean? So now you're gonna have block heals plus block buffs when you pair them together. You only need the accuracy on the fusion champ.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's synergy there. There's synergy there with this champion. You just have to kind of look deep inside. And Mortu Macabre is like one of those champs that nobody builds, that just keep in the vault. So maybe like this will be time that maybe those two will synergize well. Maybe in the Void Tower, maybe in the arena. I was thinking, I made a video just about this about 3 hours ago, how like Swift Parry is going to be the meta in the future, because everyone's going to keep getting those, gear pieces, and they're suddenly now every time you're like going against somebody in arena, Duchess is on Swift Parry and she revives everybody, and you're like, what just happened? So block buffs I feel like is a pretty strong ability, and I don't know, I just feel like there could be, like, right now he's not that good, but getting him and having him you're that much safer to use him later on, and he's gonna have a lot of uses. That's what I feel.
That I agree with. Yeah. That's
Have we ever seen that come true with a champion though, where like they released it and then somehow in time, they were organized enough so that the content that champion went into? Look, in any other game, I'd say like, cool, man. Obviously, we're going to need all this stuff because it doesn't do anything else right now. It doesn't help us anywhere else. So it must be necessary for Void Tower. I've never seen Plarium execute that level of organization before.
But I don't know. I guess Faction Wars is the only thing that would come close to like the hype of something new coming. And that's, we're approaching at almost a year. And there were champions that definitely became more valuable once Faction Wars was released. So we'll see. But I agree. I think
did they plan it though? That's my point. Like, there were champions that were just sitting around that did nothing for you, and then suddenly Faction Wars comes out. Oh, you need 5 now in one faction, so you start using them, right? But that wasn't planned. That was just coincidence, right? I
guess it's all the same on our end though, whether it's planned or coincidence. If it happens.
Well, I guess my only point there in saying is that if it's planned, in this case, I don't see it being coincidence. If it helps you in Void Tower, then it would have to be planned. Maybe a year from now, they release the Hydra boss, and at that point, coincidentally, this is the best champion. I don't know, but I'm just saying, as far as the content that's around the corner, presumably, I haven't seen Plarium line something like that up where they planned it. Okay, like level 85 of the tower has 5 healers, and you absolutely have to have AoE block heals. Yeah. And then this would be a really interesting thing that we call it a paywall, and there'd be a whole another kind of set of drama about it. But like, I've just never seen them do that and be that organized.
Well, I don't think any of us feel like that's what's happening here either.
Yeah,
I think we're all pretty much on board with what you're insinuating there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Look, I kind of I feel like Manibal's right? Like if you get this champion, if you can get this champion, there's gonna be use for them. But I mean, like Kizzle, Kizzle and Chosen, you're both correct too. Like I don't think he's great. Like on average, a legendary champion is going to be better than anything else, right? And that's probably going to be the case here. But I mean, I don't know that he's worth, even if you're an end game player, even if you're a whale, I don't know that he's worth all this effort to go and get. He's going to be good at what he does. The problem is he just doesn't do a lot, right? Like you said, a lot of the stuff's on contingencies. And, he's got a very specific spot, as far as I can see, in Arena, where it's like, I'm facing a team that has provoke champions. Okay, let me bring in, this fat toad. Otherwise it's like, where am I going to use this guy? I don't really know. The magic keep, so she can't heal, I guess, or spirit keep or whatever, maybe. I mean, like I don't need this character for dungeon runs, So there's interesting stuff and like looks super cool, but probably not going to hit very hard because it's an attack champion with like a shield ability. Like it's a bit of a strange kit. It's not as obvious as say Rhodos or Tormund that this is going to be someone that's going to be really, really good and worth getting. So I generally try to reserve judgment until we see them in action to really know. But the kit just doesn't look like it's going to break any metas. I mean, I told everybody on my video, like, if you're not feeling it, don't do it. You're not going to be that missed out. But if you can, go for it, because eventually somewhere along the way it's probably going to be somebody useful. Like, well, God, even that lizard dude that was weird free to play, the skull card,
Yep.
Girl Claw or whatever.
The April Fool's joke fusion.
Yeah, but like even people are using him in Faction Wars. Like,
oh yeah.
Like I'm horrible at the Lizard Faction Wars, but everyone's like, oh well, do you have Skull Card Goal? Because then it's easy. I'm like, well,
Skull Lord Vargal.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the one. So like, but now I'm like, I'm out, because I missed that fusion. Like, yeah, it's always worth it if you can do it. It's just this one's probably less worth it than some.
Yeah, and here's another reason why you should fuse him. He's the only champion that spits out vomit to everybody.
It's very important.
Serious. If you ever see his gameplay, if you ever see his gameplay, I've seen his gameplay. He just spasms vomit out of his mouth.
Yeah, I did. I did a video where I was messing around with him in the arena, and yeah, he does have this little spray ability. So yeah.
Spray.
All right, cool. Well, it sounds like the general sentiment would be that you should try to get him if you can, if it's realistic. If you can't, if it's a strain for you, don't break your back trying to force yourself into finishing the fusion, because right now he's kind of meh, but we're kind of thinking in the future that he may be pretty helpful in terms of PvP content or a new clan boss or the Void Tower or the Doom Tower, I guess they're calling it now. So, all right, we haven't had a talk since the Forge, so I wanted to get your guys' opinions on the implementation of the Forge now that it's live and in the game. Are you guys using it? Are you saving your resources? It looks like the Perception set is going to be the most crafted because it's kind of the most usable. After that, probably Swift Parry. That's probably the top two. They're going to get crafted. So what do you guys think on the implementation of the Forge, and what grade would you give Plarium on kind of sending this out into the game? Kizzle.
I actually had a like a thought about just gear in this game after like coming back to it and spending like 10,000 energy, maybe 15,000 energy trying to get just one usable piece, and then dropping $350 on the 6-star speed set to get one usable piece. And it kind of came to me like I don't think farming for gear in this game is an effective way to get good gear. And it's anecdotal, but a lot of that I got from like listening to Manny talk. Like, because Manny would run the auto run like 24 hours a day, and then like every 2 weeks he'd get something he could maybe use. Like, it's such an inefficient amount of energy usage. Like the odds are so stacked against you. In the sense that you might not get a 5-star, you might be getting you're probably not going to get a 6-star of what you want. Then you have to worry about the primary stat. Then you have to worry about the substats rolling multiple times. Then it has to be in the set that you need. So I think gear in this game and actually lining it up and getting something totally usable is only really doable for someone that's going to buy the pack. And I think that's why you're seeing them so much more now. I think they're skyrocketing on the actual purchases. We know they monitor that stuff very closely. So the fact that we're seeing more of it is evidence that it's doing well. I do think the Forge maybe was just bad timing for them, because now you actually have a little bit better option to get better gear. I think the Forge would be a better option than farming Dragon 20, just based off what I've seen out of it so far. I've gotten a couple of good usable pieces. And then the fact that they brought the 2 Platinum Arena sets into it, I think they kind of maybe gave us a little bit too much before they realized, they were probably pretty far along the lines of implementing it before they started to really realize how popular gear packs were actually going to be. Which I'm going to attribute like maybe 30% of those gross sales to Manibal telling everybody that they had to buy it. I never would have ever bought one. And then he was so convincing. He was like, dude, this is the only way. This is the only way to get to Platinum Arena. And I was like, and then I bought like 10 packs. And I was like,
You're such a liar, bro.
You got Jebaited. You got Jebaited.
But I mean, at the end of the day, man, you know, you're at least getting 6 stars. You know, you have a pretty good chance of getting a speed subset. You know, you're probably not gonna get the primary stat that you're looking for. I think the biggest problem with the Forge today is that you cannot do anything with the primary stat. You know, that's a huge issue. I hope they resolve it. If they resolve that, I'd have to give it a 9 out of 10. I really would.
I think that's what the charms are supposed to be, is a way through tournaments and events and faction wars to bring some incentive into acquiring those, so you can really min-max your pieces with rank charms, rarity charms, substats. So yeah,
primary stats not in there today though. And I don't think
you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Just the ranks and rarity and substats.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think that would be an opportunity to drive some incentive to tournaments and events. Maybe is to throw some main stat, like some, you know, HP percent main stat or something if you're looking for a chest, or a crit damage main stat for gloves. Yeah, I think that'd be an opportunity to grow the Forge and more customization. But I'll let you guys kind of. Did anybody else have something to add on the Forge before we move on? Deadwood, JGigs, Manibal.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, JGigs. Go ahead.
I think I like the addition of the Forge. I don't know that I feel like maybe they went a little too far with all the charms and that level of customization. I think they probably, I don't know, maybe implement the system with more sets available to be made. More of the sets are already in the game. I don't know about locking it down to just these 4 sets. I also think a lot of the sets in the game need a rework.
Oh, for sure.
There's too many pointless sets in this game that some of them you're literally never going to use for anything, and then a couple of them you might use for a very specific thing for a very brief moment. I'm using a curse set on my free to play, and that's not going to last long. It's just for this brief moment that I'm in the spot I'm in. I have to use it for a second, but I think the gear in general needs a rework, and I feel like the Forge, they probably should have pulled back some of the additional charms and all that stuff, and worried more about letting us craft gear a different way than the dungeons, and then over time add all that other stuff, and then maybe eventually we get something where we can kind of, you know, change substats based on things we can farm. There's a lot of other ways they could go with it, but I like the addition of it. I like what they're trying to do. I don't know that I think they did it super well, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I kind of hate the Forge, honestly. Like, I love the idea of it, right? And I think, like, I don't even think they implemented it badly, but like, I don't have room for the gear that I have, you know. And I don't need room to. I don't need to like go ahead and craft, you know, pieces of sets that like maybe I'll use, maybe I won't. Like, I agree. Like, Swift Parry is really good. Like, that's gonna be like, Manny's right. That's gonna be the new meta for Arena. Like, if you can put your whole team in Swift Parry, sweet. Crit damage, yes, thank you. Speed, yes, thank you. I will take that. You know, I mean, why would you ever use accuracy gear now when you could have this perception gear? No reason for that. So, part of me is like, you know, one, like, these aren't doing anything unique. Like, obviously the Swift Parry one is unique, and the whatever the other one is, the 2 that are available from Plat, those are both unique set pieces that I think are great. Deflection gear, right?
Yep.
So that's excellent. Great. You know, I'm good with that. But resilience is kind of cool, but perception is like, it's a better accuracy set. So why would I ever have an accuracy set again? But like, I don't have room for the gear that I have. I don't need a craft gear, and I don't, you know, and like Kizzle's right. Can I change my main stat? I don't need a percentage chance to maybe get a substat, which could be completely useless if I'm trying to get a main stat. Like, why do I need crit rate? If I want crit rate gloves, why would I want crit rate on my substat? Or if I want speed boots, why would I want speed set on my substat? Like, you know, it kind of
that's
the synergy of it.
That's something we should touch on in the Forge, because that's the main question in the community revolving around the Forge, is the optimal route to craft boots, because of do you want to avoid not putting in the speed substat? But then there's people I see that are theory crafting and saying that the game does the main stat first. It rolls the main stat first and then the substat. So when you craft with a speed substat glyph, you're not hurting your chance to get speed boots. So I wanted to get your guys' take on your experience with that, and if you've researched that at all, because it's something I'd really like to clarify if anybody has some nailed down knowledge on that, because I don't, to be honest with you. I don't know which way of thinking is 100% right on that.
I don't. I have done very little crafting in it. I just haven't really had a need. And I kept thinking maybe I'll just keep letting the resources build up, and maybe I'll do a video where I craft a bunch of gear and we look at the results all at once. I craft for the advanced dailies, and every now and then I'll pop in and throw a piece up, but I haven't done enough, and I've heard that, but I haven't looked into it at all.
Yeah, because when you craft, you could put in a speed charm, and it's plus 50% chance to get a speed substat. Now, if you're just crafting gear in general, it doesn't really hurt you in terms of getting if you're not looking for boots specifically. But if you're doing boots specifically, I haven't done a large enough sample size to figure out if that actually hurts your chance of getting speed boots, because like you said, if you want speed boots, you can't have it both. You can't have a speed main stat and speed substat. So are you hurting your chance of getting speed boots or not by putting in the speed glyph? And it depends how the game calculates it. Does it roll the main stat first, then move on? Or does it do it all just kind of in one clump? So that's something...
I'll be honest with you. I don't think... It bothers me sometimes that people think they have something about this game figured out when Plarium probably doesn't have it figured out. You know,
Right?
Like if you were to hit up one of the guys at Plarium today and ask them that question, they'd be like, I don't know. That's a really good one. That's a real good one. I mean, if you ask some of the higher up guys, they'd probably laugh and be like, "Yeah, we don't know that, dude. we don't know that, dude. I don't even know who I'd email to find out the answer to that." But go to Reddit and they'll tell you definitively, what's going on. It's wild, dude. So I would
That's what
say,
you gotta love, is when someone tells you a conspiracy they have like it's discovered information.
Yeah,
That's always my favorite.
I remember, I think it was Darth, Brad, and I. We wasted a long time one night. Like there was a guy in general chat, not general chat. He was in the Plarium Discord, and he was telling us that if you had all one faction in your inventory, you were guaranteed to roll a legendary of that faction. And like the debate just got way. It was like 1 a.m, and we all probably had nothing better to do, and it just got way too far, and like to a point where I was like, I'm about to start summoning stuff. Like and prove this dude wrong. I'm gonna video this, But it's the theory crafting with this game, it if they were organized enough to give us that answer, like the one thing that they had was the resist and accuracy algorithm. They always had that, and we always speculated it, and then somebody finally figured out what it was, and they admitted that was it. Right? Like, that was the one they had, and they were so vocal about it, like, "Oh, well, we know what it is, but you guys never find out." You know what I'm saying? So like I'm sure they're sitting back right now, like, "Ooh, that's a really good point. What do you do if you have the speed substat on the boot?" That's somebody got to get into that code.
We should probably figure out if it rolls main stat first.
Yeah, because like I don't want to act like I know the answer definitively, because I don't. I've been saving up to craft all at once and do a sample size on something to kind of study it. So I've only crafted probably 10 pieces in total. And like Deadwood said, we need more damn space. I'm always sitting here.
Oh my God.
I'm at 694 out of 700, and I'm muling gear on legendaries and stuff. Like, it's brutal. Like, why can't we, like, is it a server load or something? Like, why can't we have just 1500? Like, what's the problem here? I mean,
that is a problem with their hardware, though. I mean, I have heard that from Plarium before, that the lack of room in your champion inventory and in your actual artifact inventory is something to do with their hardware. That's the reason, like, that it's limited today. Like, they have to go in and install all new. I don't know if it's servers or what it is, but it's actual hardware to be able to increase all that at this point.
See,
yes, they better get on it then.
I know money's probably pretty tight over there.
See, and I've heard both ends. I've had like people that are, that do code games and stuff leave comments on my videos like, "No, that's ridiculous. It's not a server load issue. and they would know more than I would. So
I can tell you right now, I heard that directly on the phone from he who shall not be named.
Okay, well,
yeah, I mean, like, you know, do I need to say any more about who he is?
No.
I mean, like word for word, he was like, "Yeah, dude, it's a real problem." I was like, "Yeah, you know, makes sense though, because you know, I mean, you probably could have made it 20 grand off of Manny by now, you know, if you would have expanded his inventory a little bit. You know, we know you guys want that money, so
yeah, I mean, it's easily monetized. I mean, they charge gems, they charge gems to open it up, so it's like printing money when you increase the storage space. So yeah, it doesn't.
That's expensive too.
Yeah, it's like 400 gems for 10 champion
more expensive
slots
every time too. They're so ridiculous with some of that stuff, man.
I mean,
Are they ridiculous or are we ridiculous for paying it?
Yeah.
I mean, the problem
True.
is it's a domino effect. It's once one of your buddies starts doing it, then you're like I would never have bought those gold speed packs if it weren't for the fact that I knew if I had a triple speed roll, I could talk shit to Manny. Sorry, bro, you have to edit that. But yeah, I mean, I just knew it. You know, I knew it. I felt really good about it. And then, like, you know, when I got it, and like, you know, I started spamming Manny in Discord. I felt really good about it for like 10 minutes.
Then you were like, then
Well,
you remembered how much the packs were, and you're like, oh,
I was like, I don't want to think about that.
Worth
could
it.
have photoshopped
Worth
it.
Worth it.
It's so funny.
What did
Somebody
you
starts it.
What did you guys think about the Dark Elf Jebait?
Oh my
What's
god,
that?
that thing! I forgot about it. I literally, when it came up, it
Oh,
like
yeah,
immediately
yeah.
went out of my head because I'm like, "Well, this is dumb. I'm out."
Yeah, because we were told or kind of led to believe, because they even asked us what we thought would be the best faction. They said, like, hey guys, let your subscribers know it's gonna be a faction lock dragon tournament. And by the way, what do you guys think is gonna be the best factions? Like nothing about any like single faction lock, just nothing. And then all of a sudden it makes us look like we're deceiving people and wrong. So how did that go for you guys?
I looked out. It was my birthday, so I didn't make a video on it.
Yeah,
I didn't
I'm with
put
Yeah,
it
you.
It was fine for me. I didn't make a video either, so I looked smart. You know, smarter in relation to you guys, actually, I suppose, would really be how that goes. So,
I mean, you know what the secret to that is? You don't have to make a video a day, Brad. You know, I mean, that's the thing. I know that particular day you're like, got something to do. Finally, been sitting here the last 2 hours trying to figure out what to do a video on. They just hand it to me. The rest of us were sitting back just carrying on with our lives.
Oh,
you know? And then like, what happened?
Oh, they always hand you something. Like Darth said, when he pulled my shards and my chat was asking him questions, and I was like, okay, Darth, they're asking if you miss raid. And Darth's response was, I miss complaining about raid, because every day they give you something to make a video on, like complaining. So don't worry, I would have had something to do a video on.
Well, the thing about it now is now you have like 3 videos. You get to do the video on the Dark Elf, and then you get to do a video complaining about it. Then you get to do a video, you know, circling back. What do we learn from this experience? You know, and then you have a council video, this one in particular, where you get to ask us about it. I mean, they've given you content for a week.
you're forgetting the 5th video where you go, "How would we do this better?" And
That's right. You guys got it nailed down.
you got to get our blue sky video out there.
Are any of you still? I know he was super hyped up. Are any of you using Candrafon to lots of success?
Yeah,
Really?
I don't have him.
yeah.
I actually have a cool story about Candrafon. So I was in the gym, and a guy came up to me and was like, "Are you Kizzle?" And I was like,
Okay.
"Yes." And then he was actually really nice, but then he was telling me he rolled Candrafon, and he was starting to ask me about it. I was like, "Yeah, you know, they write scripts for me and stuff. I just stand on the camera and try to look pretty. You know, I don't know anything about. You want me to email one of the nerds and ask them what they think about it real quick?" But honestly, I knew he got reworked. I didn't know what changes they made to him. So I was like, man, sorry, I wish I knew. You know, if we're different.
So the person who walked up to you in the gym and asked if you're Kizzle asked you about Candrafon?
That was the first question after "Are you Kizzle?"
It was, "Are you Kizzle?" You know, I watched your videos. I saw you on Hell Hades, and I was like, great, cool. Glad you recognize me from Hell Hades, you know, of all things. You know, you must be new to this game, but you know. And then he was like, I saw your video on Raid's business. I was like, cool. And then he was like, did you pull any shards? And I was like, do that anymore, man. Like that, that ship has sailed for me. I just pull people's shards if they want me to.
I can't tell if this is a real story anymore.
No, it is. This is exactly what he asked me.
It
and
is?
Then he was like, yeah. And then he's like, I pulled Canderfon. Isn't that supposed to be a good champion? I was like,
Are you serious?
yeah. And I was like,
Someone saw you in person, and that's what they asked you.
That's where that's exactly what they said throughout the whole thing. And then I was like, and I was just, like, well, cool. Like I was trying to like, be like more well-rounded. I was like, so what other gacha games do you play? Got you into Raid?
Yeah.
Was it the 50,000 advertisements? Did you think it was going to be the mobile version of WoW? What hooked you?
You're Kizzle, right? While I got you here, can you just rework my dragon team for me?
That's great.
That's wild, man. I thought for sure that was a fake story.
How long did this conversation go on in the gym?
It went on for maybe a minute, and I want to say it was the second time I saw him. The first time I saw him, it was maybe 30 seconds, and then it was about a minute. And then the second time I saw him, one of my buddies that I grapple with was standing like right behind me, and then he's like sitting there Googling Kizzle, and he was like, "Really, dude?" And I was like, "Don't tell anyone."
Uh-oh.
Is this Jeezy?
No, it wasn't Jeezy. Jeezy
Okay.
was like, Jeezy was, I think Jeezy, he works at Best Buy, so he was actually standing in the back.
Okay.
And I think he saw me like, marching through Best Buy like a Neanderthal in my tank top. And then he was like, he told me afterwards, like he told me last night on stream or 2 nights ago on stream, he was like, man, I was sitting in the back and I saw like this guy come out. He's like, and I was watching your video, and I just looked at the camera and I was like, what? And he was like, I just ran out. And then it was kind of different because he was like, are you Kizzle? I was like, yeah. And then I was like, can you help me with these webcams? I need to get a webcam. He was like, I don't know anything about that. Dude, I'll have to get you somebody for that. I work with that.
Sweet.
Which he did, though. He got somebody who came out and helped, but that's when I met Jeezy. And the next day, this guy came up to me in the gym. And then
Wow.
maybe a couple days
Good shit,
later,
man.
he came up to me in the gym again. But it's only two now. It's only two. And then I've been kind of hibernating since then. So I haven't really ran anybody else.
That's pretty dope, though.
You better find somebody for the next one of these. I need these stories. I don't leave my house anymore, so I need something keep me interested. This is my soap opera, man. I need the next
Most of my
installment.
time in rock quarries. So like the chances of somebody that owns a rock quarry just casually playing Raid on the
Bro,
side.
start talking to the squirrels. I don't care who it is, but I need someone to recognize you.
Oh man. Yeah, it's yeah. If somebody else does, well, I'll make sure to bring everybody in the group in. But it was interesting to get recognized twice in 2 days. And then
That's
I
wild.
even said that when I got recognized at Best Buy, I had a mask on, and I was like, "How'd you recognize me with the mask on?" He was like, "Dude, you're walking around in a tank top." Come on.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
There's like
Fair
4
enough.
people that are as big as you.
I didn't recognize your face, but those shoulders, damn.
Who's bigger, Kizzle or Ash?
Oh, me by a long
Kizzle,
shot.
bro.
Dude.
That's not even, that's
I
not
might
even-
have 50 pounds on him, bro.
Ash is I don't know. You don't have 50 pounds on Ash. Ash is pretty big.
I bet you.
Does Ash work out?
I
No.
haven't noticed even. Not to be
Dude, he,
insulting, but
He's not that big, dude. I mean, I'm not
Not
trying
to
to
be
be mean.
I know that
Insulting.
sounds like I'm trying to be.
Kizzle, you
Insulting,
don't.
but
You
I'm not.
barely have 50
I
pounds
just
on
mean
me.
Kizzle clearly has been in like bodybuilding competitions.
Yeah,
Ash
I mean,
looks like he's in good shape from what
Yeah.
I've seen, but I wouldn't have thought like, is he bigger than Kizzle? Is what I'm saying.
He's
But Brad like meanders. Brad plays golf and basketball and poker, dude. I mean, what the hell does Brad know about working out? I mean, at the end of the day, if I need to improve,
I doubt
I
I doubt you even have 50 pounds on me.
mean, I usually walk around between 225 and 230.
Yeah, no, I'm 190. So
How tall are you?
6 foot.
I am 5'8". I have 50 pounds on you, bro. Sorry to tell you.
So you've got
Take
like
off
5
10
pounds on
pounds
me.
per inch. Yeah, take off 10 pounds per inch, and then you'll have actual, a decent little difference there. So
I don't know. I bet you Ash is like 235. I don't know.
if he's 6'2", yeah, he might be. He might be. If he's my height, he's about $185, maybe $180.
How tall are y'all?
I'm 6.
5'8".
I'm exactly 6 foot.
Okay.
Wait, we're on the internet. I'm 5'10", 255, lean, 8% body.
2.5 minute mile.
I'm 6'2" with my hair done and the hat on.
Yeah. There you go.
6 feet most of the time. Yeah.
That's all that matters. Well,
But no, I told Ash this, and if Player wants to set it up, I'm down to set it up. I will go run Ash through a few workouts. We can even play raid in the middle of it. He might need a break, but I mean, we can do that. We can make that happen.
Do a Kanzerfine guide.
He's in Massachusetts. I'll fly up. We'll make it happen. Or honestly, we got a really good gym in Charlotte. We could record the whole thing if you want to come down. But yeah, I was like, hey man, I'll fly up. We'll work out. And he was just like, LOL, good one, bro. And I was like, it's kind of being a little bit serious there, but I'll take it.
And he responded to you, man.
He did respond.
That's the first time I see him responding to a tag.
That's all it takes. It just takes calling him out.
I mean, I said, hey, dude, if you're ever down for it, and we could do like a raid in working out video or something. I was like, I travel a lot for work. Where are you at? And I was like, if I'm ever in the area, let you. He said Massachusetts. Like, man, I'm rarely up there, But he was just like, LOL, Massachusetts, good one, bro. And I was like, cool. I think that was an aggressive no.
Well, I mean, it's intimidating. You're quite the celebrity at the gym, it sounds like. So,
I mean, I didn't think about it that way,
I mean, that's just the reality. Eyes are on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't think about it that way. I still felt like y'all.
I mean,
I'm one of the little people. I don't know why. Don't put me on this pedestal that I stand upon.
Well,
Just because my shoes are made of gold and I have a silver tank top doesn't mean that I'm not like one of you all. You know?
I put my pants on just like y'all. One butler for each leg.
and pants combined into one leg.
Yeah. Also have to get them with, a little bit of Lycra in them because of how thick my thighs are. I don't know if that's quite the same. Maybe it's a little different.
All right. Well, we went way off the rails here. Is there anything?
I thought that's why you brought me on for these things.
Is there anything
I'll be talking about like bad content? I mean,
is there anything we need to touch on the way out? Do we know anything about when LYDIA's coming or when?
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah, so we got some updated information. So Cyrilla went on a Russian YouTuber's website, a YouTube video, and she confirmed that LYDIA will be faction wars only.
No shards.
No shards. And Diamond confirmed today that either at the end of this month or the beginning of next month, 2.3 will land.
And was it confirmed that it's going to be the current 13 factions? They're not going to do a Jebait and release a new faction?
No new factions at all.
No, there will not be a new faction. I'm telling you guys right now. It was going to be Samurai. Well, not anytime soon.
Wow.
It was definitely going to be Samurai, and then now they started folding the Samurai champions and other factions. I mean, for me, there's all the proof in the world that they've abandoned that. I mean, maybe at some point they come back to it, but my assumption would be that it'd be something other than Samurai. Otherwise, they would have just tabled it. They would tabled Saito and just kept him where he was and revisit him at a different time. But to roll Saito into Undead when he clearly doesn't fit in there, I mean, I think you have plenty of evidence that the Samurai faction is not going to happen. And all the
His
data.
skin's kind of green. What do you mean?
Well, no, I think they put like a little something on his cheek to make him look undead, and then change his skin color. And
just other than that, makeup job on him.
Yeah,
just grunt when you walk. They'll buy it after a while.
Yeah, definitely was a Samurai faction if there was going to be one. That's undisputable.
Just curious what you guys think of Saito and Ursuga, the other new champion.
Ursuga is really going to be really good.
She seems really cool, yeah.
Ursuga's base stats are nothing like anything in this game.
They're crazy.
Like, they're just bonkers. 108 speed, 1530 defense, 23k or 22k HP. Like, what?
23.4, yeah.
23,
yeah.
Like, it's just yeah, man. She's definitely probably top 5 Void legendary, hands down. And her kid is just sick. I mean, she needed a sick like base stats to be like super OP, and now I think she is definitely super overpowered.
Yeah, with the Ally Protect, she needed those base stats so she's not constantly falling over. But yeah, no, I agree. I think she's going to be a top 10 legendary, possibly top 5. Remember, we've got Lydia taking one of those spots here in
Good God.
here in 3 weeks. So okay, Lydia is in 3 to 5 weeks probably, and will not be in shards. And that covered Lydia, I think, because we discussed her for a whole video, and she will be the #1 legendary in the game, according to all of you, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't
I
imagine
don't know.
who's going to
man.
outdo her.
It's possible. It's,
Trunda's gonna be better.
There you go.
War Chief, one of these days.
yeah.
It's
Thick
Candaphon. It's all
ties. Thick
Candaphon.
ties.
But I think Deadwood also wanted you guys to touch on Saito. We kind of glossed over that. Have any of you used him to extent? I
I
haven't.
haven't even looked at him closely, to be honest.
I'm protesting.
He's too undead. It's too scary.
I think I think you did the most, Deadwood, in terms of
Wow.
using it. What did you find?
I think he's great. Like he hits really hard in both arena and in clan boss. I'm actually surprised we're not seeing more of him. I mean, I'm guessing it's just because you have to pull him, right? There's no other way to get him.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pull a legendary champion, but like he's really good. Like that dude hits extremely hard. He's really good
Yeah.
in clan boss. I'm surprised we're not seeing him in more unkillable teams, honestly, for that. But like he's also really I found him to be really good in arena. Like I somebody pulled him and let me use their account to test him out, and like I used him literally everywhere, and everywhere he was dropping 100k hits like left and right. He's good for sure. Like I'm kind of the reason why I asked is I was surprised I haven't heard more talk about him, because I thought like I remember when Whisper came out and people were like, ooh, Whisper. And I'm like,
That meme was like 2 or 3 days, and then that died
Well,
off.
Yeah.
Saito hasn't even had 2 or 3 days. Like that dude smacks. Like
Well,
he's smacks.
but like I don't have him. I did a video and I tested him for what I could for a couple hours, but I don't have him, so it's hard for me to like use him on a daily basis. But that's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear that he's overperforming, because we thought he was going to be meh. But so that's good.
I saw Murder. Now that you mentioned that, I saw Murder using him in stream the other night in Clan Boss, and he was hitting like 200k hits. It was disgusting.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
He's got insane multipliers because his base attack is kind of low, so his multipliers must be just nutty. Cool.
Yeah.
Did we forget anything then? We touched on Lydia and Candrafon and the Fusion, the Dark Elf Jebait, and then we had a 10-minute discussion about Kizzle's weight and Kizzle's...
Hey, I'm up for the challenge, Ash. Anytime, bro. Anytime. I'll get on a scale. I'll break out I don't know if I'm break out the measuring tape. I don't really want to own that on the internet. But we'll yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm betting you and Ash are pretty close in weight, like and just weight. So yeah. Anyway, but we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole again. Is there anything else we missed?
Now I gotta go watch an Ash video and see if I've just not been paying attention. See if he's jacked and I've just been overlooking it.
He's not jack. I mean, you can tell he looks like he's been to the gym. I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like he bought like a some sort of a morning workout pass. You know what I'm talking about? Like one of those
Wow.
P90X.
Insanity.
Yeah, he's been doing a little insanity, before he does his videos.
I think it's very simple. Ash is like a basketball player, and Kizzle plays football. Like that's kind of that's the difference. Or Ash is a receiver, and Kizzle's not.
I mean, he's opening too many doors there.
Kizzle's
Oh God.
Kizzle's a middle linebacker.
Yep.
I mean, I would say he's probably not a national level bodybuilder. I'm not anymore, but I definitely was. So, you know what I'm saying? If he did a show, he would probably lose.
I don't know. I think
I don't know how to put it.
I think I could take you.
Take me in what? In golf?
In golf.
I think you could take me in golf, bro, for sure. I don't want to mess with you in golf, bro. I really don't. All right. Like I give up early. But in the gym or grappling or at a bodybuilding contest, you might want to just not show up. I'm just gonna put it like that.
All right. All right.
Limited to thumbs.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, it was a lot of fun, boys. I think we touched on most things going on in the community. And now let's let you guys kind of one by one say goodbye. We'll just go left to right. Deadwood.
Goodbye.
Short and simple again. All right, Manibal.
Thanks for having me. I'm almost at 8,000 subs. Help your boy out so I can be a tier 3 content creator. It would mean a lot.
It's a
Appreciate
tier
it.
3. What does that mean?
You were there such a long time ago. I'm still not there.
You have to hit more than
8,000 subs. I need 8,000 subs.
And what are you at?
Really?
Are you close?
I'm 7.4 or something like that.
I think they made me a tier 3 when I had 700 subs. I'm not exaggerating. I think they really did. You know, before I even had a face cam, they made me tier 3. You know, I was recording my phone real quick. I'd be like,
that look of pain on Manibal's face. You could tell he's angry.
I mean, if you get in on it early, man, you know, but I would just threaten to not buy any more packs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that might work for you.
No. We need the new servers. Don't tell them that.
Don't encourage Manibal to start going off in the creator chat again.
Yeah, bro.
I didn't
chill.
like when he
gotta
told me
chill
he
in there.
did that. I actually wanted to go back and like scroll back and find it, but I never got around to it. But I should. I'm sure it'd be entertaining.
Did you leave it there, Manibal?
Yeah, man. I mean, what's the point? If I take it off, that means I retracted my words.
That's true. Yeah, I can respect
You
that.
you gotta like stand by your
Yeah,
bitching.
Mhm.
I can respect that for sure. All right, Kizzle, did you want
Yeah.
to say goodbye? I didn't let you properly.
Oh yeah. You know, I don't need any more subs to be tier 3, but you know, you should subscribe to me instead of Manibal. I release about half of the content. I release maybe like a third of the videos that he releases. It has significantly less usable information. I'm not a fan of the game, whereas Manibal kind of is. I mean, you know, but yeah, you should definitely hop on there, give me a sub.
All right, fair enough. And then Gigsy.
I just want to ask everyone, if you see Kizzle in public, please ask him for champ advice. Let that be the first
Yes.
question you ask him.
That's
Log
right.
into he will gladly take your phone and rework your clan boss for you.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Leave me with that responsibility. Let's see where it lands.
All right, all right. Well, this was a lot of fun, boys. We'll do it again soon. Thanks for taking the time on your evening to sit down and hang out for a bit.
Sure.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for
Appreciate you
having
having
us.
us.
All right, it's going to do it for this video. And as always, I will link to their stuff down in the pinned comment. So it's super easy to find these guys. They are great. You should definitely check them out. Deadwood, Manibal, Kizzle, JGigs. Thank you so much for joining me. And for some of these future episodes coming up, I am trying to include some of the guys that are in different time zones. It's a little bit tough to get everything to coordinate, but I do want to get the guys like Hell Hades and Scratch and Cold Brew and get them to join these discussions as well. It's just hard to get all the time zones coordinated, but I am going to work on it, and maybe we're going to do it early in the morning so that we can get them to come hang out as well. So I definitely want to bring them on for the next one and do that as soon as possible. So yeah, guys, as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.